the curse that chased them. The rain didn't stop for 3 days. Cold water dripped from the broken roofs. Thick clouds covered the sky. Everything looked gray, lifeless, and forgotten. In the corner of a junkyard, hidden behind piles of old machines and scrap, a mother sat holding her child close. She wasn't human. Her skin was pale blue, almost white under the rain. Her long fingers trembled as she held a dirty cloth over her child's small head. The girl had glowing purple eyes, wide, hungry, and scared. The mother's name was Alara. Her child was Neri. No one wanted them. No one wants the cursed ones, a voice had once said. Every town they entered, they were pushed out. Every door they knocked was slammed shut. People whispered behind their backs. Some even threw stones. She brings bad luck, they said. Her child is cursed. Alara didn't fight. She didn't scream. She only held Neri close and moved on, step by step, foot by foot, through cities and wastelands. She had lost her husband long ago, taken by soldiers during a planet raid. No one ever told her why, just that he was gone. Now her only reason to live was Neri. But Neri hadn't eaten for 2 days. Her stomach growled softly as she lay in her mother's arms. Her voice was weak when she asked, "Mama, are we cursed?" Alara's lips trembled. "No, little star. We're just unlucky." Neri nodded but didn't understand. That night, thunder rolled across the sky. The metal roof above them shook with each lightning flash. Wind howled through broken pipes. Alara looked at her child. Neri was cold, her small arms wrapped around her body. Alara had to do something. She stood up, covered her child in a torn blanket, and looked around the junkyard. In the far distance, there were lights. A small human house. She had seen a man go in there before, alone, quiet with kind eyes. He had helped an old robot one day. Maybe, just maybe. She picked up Neri and walked through the mud. Her feet were bare and cut. The rain soaked her clothes, but she didn't stop. Each step felt heavier, each heartbeat louder. When she reached the wooden door, she hesitated. Her hand shook as she raised it. Tap, tap, tap. No answer. Tap, tap, tap. A dim light appeared behind the window. The door opened a little. A man stood there. Human, tall, beard, eyes like the sky, tired, but not unkind. He looked at her, then at the child. She expected him to shut the door. She expected anger. Instead, he said, "Are you cold?" Alara didn't answer. She only looked at him with wide eyes. "My name is Jack," he said. "You two look like you need a place to rest." "Don't," she said quickly. "We bring trouble." Jack looked confused. "You need help." "We are cursed." He didn't move. He looked at her again, closely. Then quietly he stepped aside and opened the door fully. "You can stay the night," he said. "That's all." Alara couldn't believe it, but she stepped inside. The HFY house was warm, old, small, filled with tools and metal parts, but warm. Jack brought a towel. He placed a bowl of hot soup on the table. Neri looked at the food with wide eyes but didn't move. "Go ahead." Jack smiled. The child rushed to it like a storm. She ate fast, tears falling from her cheeks. Alara looked down, ashamed. "I'm sorry. We're not clean." Jack raised a hand. "It's okay. You're safe here." That night, Neri fell asleep by the fire, wrapped in a soft blanket. Alara sat near the wall, her eyes watching every corner. "Why are you helping us?" she finally asked. Jack looked at her and shrugged. "I don't like to see people suffer, that's all. You're human. Others didn't care. Others are stupid." Alara stared at him. He wasn't afraid. He didn't ask questions about the curse. But she had to tell him. "Strange things happen around us," she whispered. "Pipes break, fires start, accidents follow. That's why people hate us. Even I started to believe it." Jack looked at the sleeping child. "She's just a girl," he said, "and you're just a mother trying to protect her." He stood and picked up an extra blanket. "You can stay the night," he repeated. "Tomorrow, we'll see." Outside, the wind screamed. But inside, for the first time in years, the cursed ones felt warm. They didn't know that something outside was already watching. Something that didn't like Jack's kindness. Something that whispered, "Let them suffer again." Jack was not like the others. He lived alone in the far corner of the scrapyard town. People called him strange, quiet, a man who fixed broken machines and spoke more to engines than to people. But Jack didn't mind. He liked silence. Machines didn't lie. Tools didn't betray. But now, there was something different inside his house. An alien woman and her child were sleeping by the fire. The child, Neri, had her tiny hands wrapped around a soft pillow like she never wanted to let go. Her breathing was steady, peaceful. Alara, the mother, was still awake, sitting on the floor like she didn't belong. Her eyes moved to every corner of the room, always alert, always ready to run. Jack brought her a cup of warm tea. She took it with shaking hands but didn't drink. "You don't trust me," he said, sitting down across from her. "No one should," she replied. "We bring misfortune," Jack chuckled. "I bring misfortune too. Maybe we cancel each other out." Alara looked at him confused. "You are not afraid. Should I be? There is something around us. It follows. Bad things happen. Bad things happen everywhere," Jack said calmly. "That doesn't mean you cause them." She stayed quiet. The fire crackled between them. Jack studied her. Her blue skin glowed faintly in the warm light. Her clothes were torn and patched, her hands rough and blistered. This wasn't a dangerous woman, this was a mother who had carried her child through storms. "You're not cursed," he said gently. "You're tired." The next morning, something strange happened. Jack walked out to his workshop. The main power cable had melted, completely, as if fire had licked through it in the night. He frowned. Later, when he turned on the water tap, black smoke puffed out, pipes hissing. Another short circuit. Alara saw his face change and stood up, quickly. "It's starting," she whispered. "It always starts like this." "Relax," Jack said. "It's just bad wiring. I've lived with worse." But in his heart, he wasn't so sure. Still, he didn't say anything. He fixed the pipe, rewired the cable, and cleaned the soot from the walls, all while Neri followed behind him, giggling and asking questions. "Do humans eat rocks?" she asked. Jack laughed. "Only on holidays." She smiled, a wide, pure smile Jack hadn't seen on a child in years. Later that day, people from the town started whispering. "Jack took them in," someone said. "That cursed woman and her ghost child," said another. A man at the market even pulled Jack aside. "Get rid of them. You're playing with fire." Jack didn't reply. He just stared until the man walked away. When he returned home, he found Alara sitting outside with her head down. "You heard them," she said softly. "You should ask us to leave." Jack sat beside her. "I fix things, Alara. Machines, yes. But sometimes, maybe people too." She looked at him like no one ever had. And for the first time, her eyes filled with tears, not fear, not sadness, just something warm, like hope. That night, Jack made dinner. They all sat on the floor. Simple food, shared plates. Neri was sleepy, but happy. She leaned her head on Jack's arm and whispered, "You're not scared of us?" Jack looked at her, then at Alara. "No. You're family now," he said. And something in the air shifted. For the first time in years, the cursed felt like they belonged. But outside, near the scrapyard fence, something moved. A small creature, eyes glowing green, watched through the cracks in the metal. It whispered, not in words, but in hunger. It had followed Alara and her child for a long time, not because of a curse, but because it fed on fear. It lived on sorrow. And it was angry now. Angry that someone had broken the pattern. angry that a human had shown kindness. It crawled silently, slipping into the shadows of the workshop, waiting. Inside, Jack fixed a music box. Neri clapped when it played a soft tune. Alara watched the two of them. She smiled, but deep inside, she still felt it. That strange cold in the air, the fear that never really left. She didn't know yet that something had entered the walls, something dark, something ready to make her believe again in the curse. At night, the stars blinked above the junkyard like little sparks of hope. But Alara didn't look up at them anymore. She sat on the edge of the small bed Jack had given her, hands folded in her lap, back straight. Her eyes were open, but she wasn't really there. She was somewhere far away, in a memory she didn't want to remember. Neri was asleep beside her, breathing softly, holding a stuffed toy Jack had made from scrap cloth and old wires. The child looked peaceful. Alara didn't. Jack watched her from the doorway. "You don't sleep much," he said gently. Alara looked up, startled. "I don't dream good things," she answered. Jack stepped inside and sat across the room. "Tell me," he said. "Maybe it helps." She didn't want to, but her heart was too full, and somehow, Jack made the silence feel safe. "My husband," she began softly, "was strong. He worked in the towers. One day soldiers came. They said he was part of a rebellion. He wasn't. He just fixed machines like you." Jack listened, his eyes steady. "They took him anyway. Said he had dangerous thoughts." "I was 3 weeks pregnant with Neri." She paused. "They burned our home. They told the neighbors that my child would be cursed, that I would bring death. I didn't even understand why." Her fingers tightened. "After Neri was born, every time something went wrong, an accident, a fire, even sickness, they blamed us. They said we carried it with us." Jack stayed silent. "I believed them, Jack. I really did. When Neri cried too much or when I couldn't find food, I thought it was my fault." Her voice broke. "I never wanted her to suffer." Jack stood and slowly walked toward her. He sat beside her on the bed. "She doesn't suffer now," he said. "You kept her alive. You gave her love. You protected her when no one else would." Alara looked away, blinking tears. "I'm tired," she whispered. "I know." She finally leaned her head against the wall and closed her eyes. Not sleep, just rest. Jack watched her for a long time. He didn't touch her. He didn't speak again. He simply stayed close. But in the workshop, something stirred. The small creature from the scrapyard had crawled in through the cracks. It moved between tools, its body thin like wires, its eyes glowing with hunger. It fed on pain. And now, in this house full of healing, it was starving. It hated the human. It hated the warmth. It wanted the crying child again, the broken mother. It slipped beneath the floorboards, waiting. The next morning, Jack woke early. He went outside to repair the broken water pump. Neri followed him, skipping beside him with a bright smile. "Jack," she said, "can I help?" "You sure can," he replied, handing her a wrench. Alara watched from the doorway. She was smiling too, but only a little. A quiet smile, unsure, like a wounded bird testing its wings. That night, the power flickered. The lights dimmed. And then, Neri screamed. Jack ran to the back room. Alara was already there, holding her daughter tight. Neri's eyes were wide with fear. "There were eyes under the floor," she cried. Jack knelt beside her. "What did you see?" "A shadow, with sharp fingers and green eyes." Jack's face went cold. He grabbed a flashlight and opened the trapdoor to the storage area below. Nothing, only dust, old parts, and silence. But when he closed the hatch, the metal felt warm. Too warm. Later, when everyone was trying to sleep, Alara turned to Jack. "I told you," she whispered. "It always comes. I don't know what it is, but it follows us. It waits. And then it hurts people." Jack looked at her in the candlelight. We'll fight it, he said. Together. Alara shook her head. You should send us away. No. It could kill you. Jack gave a sad smile. I've lived through worse. Maybe this time I fix more than just machines. Outside, the wind picked up. Inside, the music box Jack had made for Neri began to play by itself. Slow, creepy, note by note. Alara held her child tightly. Jack stood at the window, watching the scrapyard. The stars were gone and the shadows were growing thicker. The morning started with sunshine. Warm light touched the roof of Jack's old house. For once, the junkyard didn't look cold or broken. Neri played with scrap parts in the dirt, trying to build a tiny robot. She giggled, her voice full of life. Alara hung wet clothes on a line. Her face looked peaceful. For the first time in months, her hands didn't shake. Jack worked on a broken drone near the shed. It almost looked like a normal day. Almost. Then it began. First, the wrench slipped from Jack's hand, but it didn't just fall. It flew as if pushed and hit the wall with force. Jack frowned. Next, the clothesline snapped. All the clean clothes dropped in the mud, ruined. Alara froze. She whispered, "It's starting again." Jack stayed calm, but inside he felt it too. A strange pull in the air, like the sky was holding its breath. He fixed the clothesline, helped clean the mud off the clothes. He said nothing, but the strange accidents continued. That afternoon, while Neri chased a butterfly through the scrap piles, a large sheet of metal fell from a stack, right where she'd been standing seconds before. Jack ran to her. She was fine, shaken, scared. "I didn't touch it," she whispered. It moved by itself. Jack lifted the metal sheet and checked everything twice. Nothing was loose. No reason it should have fallen, but it did. Alara stood behind them, silent. She knew. She had seen this before. Back inside the house, Jack tried to keep things normal. He made soup. Alara helped slice vegetables. Neri drew pictures on a metal panel using a piece of coal. But the lights flickered again. This time they blinked in a pattern. Slow, slow, fast, fast, slow. Like something was knocking from the wires. Tap, tap, tap. "Is that normal?" Alara asked, her voice low. Jack didn't answer. He walked to the fuse box. All connections looked fine. Nothing burning, nothing broken. But the feeling in the house had changed. Even Neri stopped drawing. She whispered, "Mama, it feels cold." Later that evening, Jack walked to the town market. He needed more wire, some tools, and food. When he arrived, the shopkeeper looked at him with wide eyes. "You still have them in your house?" he asked. Jack didn't reply. "Things are breaking. All over," the man added. "Farm machines, lights. Even the water line snapped." "You think it's a coincidence?" "She brings it, Jack. You know that." Another man nearby said, "The curse is real. Tell them to leave." Jack picked up his tools, placed a few credits on the counter, and walked away. He didn't answer anyone. He didn't need to. Back at home, Alara sat by the fire with Neri asleep in her lap. Jack returned, placed the tools down, and sat beside her. "They're talking again," he said. "I know," Alara replied. "Oh, Alara. They always do, but they're not wrong. These things, they're not random. Something follows us, something invisible." Jack looked into the fire. "Then it's time to find out what." She stared at him. "You don't understand. It doesn't fight with claws or teeth. It hurts you by turning others against you. It makes your friends fear you. Then, you're all alone." Jack's voice was calm. "I've lived alone for years. You won't survive this alone." He gave her a steady look. "Then stay with me." That night, the old drone Jack had been fixing powered on by itself. It hovered in the air. Its red eye blinked wildly, scanning the room. Alara grabbed Neri and backed away. Jack shouted, It's not connected to power. Suddenly, the drone crashed. Into the wall, hard. Sparks flew. The fire went out. Smoke filled the room. Everyone coughed. Jack rushed to throw a blanket over the drone and unplug it. He kicked it aside and opened the window to let the smoke out. When he turned back, Alara was on her knees, shaking. "I told you," she cried. "It doesn't want us to be safe. It will keep coming until everything breaks." Jack walked over and helped her up. "Then let it come, I'm not afraid." "But I am," Alara said. Her voice echoed in the quiet house. And in that silence, from deep under the floor, they heard something whisper. 3 words, so soft, so cold, so sharp it felt like a blade. "Let her go." Jack and Alara looked at each other. They both heard it. There was no more doubt. Whatever haunted her was here now, and it was getting stronger. It started with silence. No wind. No birds. Not even the soft hum of broken machines in the junkyard. Just heavy, unnatural silence. Jack stepped outside, rubbing sleep from his eyes. The morning sun had risen, but it felt weak, like it struggled to shine. He expected to hear Neri's laughter. She always woke first, always jumped on old scrap like a jungle gym. But today, no sound came. Inside, Alara folded blankets. Her face looked tired but calm, until she noticed the empty corner. "Neri?" she called softly. No answer. She checked the hallway. The tiny bed was untouched. Her hands dropped the blanket. "Neri!" Her scream made Jack run back in. "She's not here," Alara cried, her voice trembling. "She was beside me. She always stays beside me." Jack tried to stay calm. She might be outside, hiding. But in his gut, he knew something was wrong. They searched everywhere. The shed, the tool room, the garden, the scrap piles, even the water tanks. No sign of her. Alara's breathing became fast and shallow. She wouldn't wander. She knows not to leave. "We'll find her," Jack said, grabbing a flashlight and his jacket. "She's smart." Alara grabbed his arm, her eyes wide with fear. "This isn't normal," she whispered. "This is it. This is what it does. It takes." Jack gently pulled away. "Then we're going to take her back." Jack found tracks, tiny footprints in the mud near the fence. They led toward the scrapyard tunnel, a dark, unused shaft that once led to underground storage from the war days. He stopped and stared. It was pitch black. Alara joined him and froze. "She's in there?" she whispered. "I can feel it." Jack nodded and clicked on his flashlight. "Stay here," he said. "No," Alara replied. "I'm going with you." They entered together. The tunnel smelled of rust and mold. Water dripped from above. The sound echoed like whispers. Jack's boots crunched on broken metal and glass. Suddenly the flashlight blinked, then flickered, then went out. Darkness swallowed them. Alara grabbed his hand. "Don't leave me." "I won't," Jack said. His voice was steady. His heart wasn't. Then, they heard it. A soft giggle. Neri's voice. But it wasn't joyful. It echoed strangely. Twisted. "Come play. Come play." They walked deeper. Then, they saw her. Neri stood in the middle of the tunnel. Her eyes glowed faintly. She smiled, but didn't move. Alara ran to her, but Jack pulled her back. "That's not right," he warned. Neri tilted her head. "Mommy, why are you scared of me?" Jack's skin crawled. That voice wasn't hers. It was too smooth, too cold. Suddenly, the ground cracked. A hand, long, thin, and black like smoke, rose from below and grabbed Neri's ankle. She screamed. Alara screamed louder. Jack didn't think. He leaped forward, grabbed the child's arm, and pulled with all his strength. The smoke hand hissed and slipped back into the ground. Jack fell backward, Neri in his arms. Alara held her baby tight. The child sobbed. "It touched me, Mama. It wanted me to stay." The walls of the tunnel began to pulse. like a living thing. A slow, deep heartbeat echoed around them. Boom! 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 Alara looked around with wide eyes. It's alive, she whispered. This place, it's not just haunted. It feeds on us. It wants our fear. Jack picked Neri up. We're leaving, he growled. But the tunnel disagreed. The path behind them began to close, metal bending and folding, sealing them in. No way back, Jack muttered. Alara turned toward a side tunnel. This way, there's another exit. They ran. Behind them, the shadows chased, not walking, not crawling, gliding, fast, silent, hungry. They didn't stop to look back. Neri cried, holding onto Jack's neck. I'm sorry, she sobbed. It's not your fault, Jack said. You didn't do this. They reached a ladder. Up top was a vent glowing faintly with sunlight. Jack lifted Neri. Alara pushed her from below. Then Jack climbed. The moment they were out, the vent slammed shut behind them. The silence returned. But this time, it wasn't peaceful. It was warning them. Back at the house, Alara wrapped Neri in a warm blanket and rocked her gently. Jack stood near the broken door. His hands were shaking. She didn't wander, he said. It lured her. It used her voice. It knows us now. Alara nodded slowly. And it won't stop. Jack looked out toward the tunnel entrance. The shadows hadn't followed. But they were watching. Waiting. Next time, they wouldn't come back alone. The fire crackled low in the corner of the room. Jack placed more wood into it, but even the flames felt cold tonight. Neri hadn't spoken since they returned. She sat wrapped in a blanket, eyes staring into nothing. Like part of her was still down in that tunnel. Like something had touched her, and hadn't let go. Alara held her daughter close, whispering songs from her homeworld. Soft lullabies only alien mothers knew. But the shadows in the room were growing longer, and Jack knew it wasn't over. That night he stayed awake, hammering metal sheets over windows, checking wires, setting lights around the house. Alara came to him quietly. She hasn't slept. She just keeps looking at the wall. She's scared, Jack said. She's not the only one. Alara's hands trembled. What is it, Jack? You've seen many things. Fought in the ruins, but this... What is this thing? Jack looked into her eyes. It's not just a ghost or a curse. It's something older. Something that feeds on the pain we bury deep inside. That's why it follows you. Not because you're cursed, but because you survived. Alara lowered her head. And now it wants her. At midnight, the music box played again. But no one had touched it. The melody was slow, broken, like a lullaby twisted into something dark. Then Neri stood, still wrapped in her blanket, still not blinking. She walked to the center of the room. Neri? Alara whispered. Jack stepped forward, but Alara held his arm. Wait. Neri turned. To them, but her eyes were wrong. They glowed too bright. Her voice echoed with a second voice behind it. Why did you keep me, Mama? She asked. Why didn't you let me go? Alara's face broke. That's not her. The voice continued, deeper now, ancient and cruel. You should have let her starve. Like the others did. Jack clenched his fists. Let her go. The air shifted. The fire died. Shadows crawled from the corners of the house. And then... Neri collapsed. Alara rushed to her child. She was breathing, but barely. Her skin was cold, her hands limp. She's still here, Alara sobbed. But it's trying to take her mind, her soul. Jack knelt beside them, his face pale. Then we go after it. What? We fight it. The thing inside her, it's still close. We can pull her back before it takes her forever. Alara stared at him. How? It's not something we can hit. No, Jack said, standing up. But it's something we can face. And I'm not leaving her behind. Alara laid Neri gently on the floor and took Jack's hand. Then let's go. They lit candles, drew protective signs with chalk. They sat on either side of the child. Jack took a deep breath. This is gonna hurt. They closed their eyes, and the world fell away. Suddenly, they were in a dark place. Not the tunnel, but not real either. A dream? A trap? A battlefield? Alara stood in a field of gray ash. Jack appeared beside her. In front of them was a broken version of Neri. She sat alone on a stone, arms around her knees, eyes full of tears. Behind her, the creature waited. It didn't hide now. Tall, thin, made of smoke and bones, no face, just glowing green eyes. You cannot take her back, it said. Its voice was everywhere. She called me. She is mine. Jack stepped forward. She's just a kid. She was scared. And I came, the creature whispered. I feed what no one else wants. I live in pain. I grow in silence. I am the curse. Jack didn't flinch. You're a parasite, it laughed. Then what will you do, human? Offer your body? Your life? No, Jack said. I offer something worse for you. He reached down and took Neri's hand. I offer hope, the creature screamed. Alara joined him, grabbing. Her daughter too. They pulled. The darkness shattered. The creature lunged, howled, vanished, and light exploded around them. Jack gasped awake. So did Alara. Neri sat up, blinking, breathing hard. Mama, she whispered. Jack? They held her so tight she could barely breathe. I had a nightmare, she said softly. Alara kissed her forehead. It's over now. Jack stood, his chest rising and falling fast, but his eyes burned with anger. It's still out there, Alara nodded. But now it knows. We're not alone anymore. The morning after the storm felt strange. The sky was clear. The sun rose quietly over the junkyard. The machines didn't spark. The pipes didn't break. The wind didn't whisper cruel things. But something still lingered in the air, like the final breath of a nightmare that refused to fade. Inside the house, Neri was awake. She sat by the fire, holding the repaired music box Jack had given her. It played softly now, no broken notes, no eerie tune. Just a calm lullaby. Alara sat nearby, watching her daughter with tearful eyes. For the first time in years, Neri looked free. But Alara couldn't relax yet. Not until it was truly over. Jack walked in with tools in his hands and dirt on his face. I reinforced the doors, he said. Built light traps around the windows. If it comes again, we'll see it before it sees us. Alara smiled weakly. Thank you, she whispered. Jack sat beside her. She's stronger than I thought. She gets it from her father, Alara said softly. But she keeps fighting, because of you. Jack looked at the fire. I didn't do much. You believed in us, Alara replied. That's something no one else ever did. He didn't answer, but the way his jaw tightened said he cared more than words ever could. Later that day, Neri walked into the workshop where Jack worked. He looked up, surprised. I made something for you, she said, holding out a drawing. It was simple, a picture of Jack, Alara, and Neri standing hand in hand under the sun. In the corner, the shadow was drawn small, locked behind a wall of light. Jack smiled. Looks like you beat the monster. Neri nodded. But it's still watching. Jack knelt down. Then let it watch. We won't be scared anymore. But fear doesn't give up so easily. That night when the sky turned orange and red, something moved in the scrapyard again. The shadows gathered one final time. The creature had grown weak, but not defeated. It came not to scare this time, but to break, to destroy, to end what it could not control. The lights in the house flickered. Jack stood up, grabbing his lantern and walking outside. Alara joined him, holding Neri close. Across the field of metal, a shape appeared. It was larger, now, no longer hiding. Tall as a tree, its form flickering between smoke and bone. "You don't belong here," Jack shouted. The creature didn't speak. It just raised a long, sharp arm and pointed at Alara. Jack stepped in front of her. "Come through me first." The creature roared. Wind blew through the yard. Tools scattered. Metal screamed, but Jack didn't move. He reached for Alara's hand and pulled her beside him. "You are not cursed," he said loud enough for the whole world to hear. "You are loved." Neri stepped forward too. She was shaking, but her eyes were clear. "I'm not afraid of you anymore," she told the shadow, and then she began to sing, the same lullaby her mother used to sing. Only now, her voice carried more strength, more hope, more light. The wind slowed, the shadow flinched. The creature took a step back. Its smoky form cracked, splintered, like glass under pressure. The lullaby grew louder. Jack joined. So did Alara, 3 voices in the dark, not with weapons, not with fists, but with love. The creature screamed one final time, long and broken, and burst into sparks of shadow, which vanished into the sky, and with it, the curse finally shattered. The night was quiet again. Real quiet. Peaceful. Alara dropped to her knees, crying, not from fear, but from release. Jack hugged them both. It was over. Truly over. Days later, something strange happened in town. People started noticing. The machines stopped breaking, fires didn't start, pipes worked again, and the man who once lived alone, he now walked with a little girl holding his hand, and an alien woman who smiled softly beside him. At first, the townsfolk watched in silence. Then, slowly, someone waved. Then another. And one morning, a neighbor brought a basket of fruit to Jack's door. Alara opened it. The woman hesitated, then said, "I was wrong. I'm sorry." Alara smiled. She didn't say anything. She just took the basket and closed the door gently. That night, Neri placed her drawing on the wall, the same one with the 3 of them standing together. But now, she added something new. Bright sun in the top corner and 3 small words written in her handwriting, not cursed anymore,